Holy Toledo. That's all I've got to say, with apologies to those from Toledo, Ohio. This is a rare, you can see the sunlight pouring in, rare daytime Man Alone recorded video, because we have hot off the press, boiling hot, right off the press. I really shouldn't have a soundboard. Is the new Alien RPG Evolved Edition beta rulebook has been released. They just released the character sheet that we've had some views of, and let me just say this, okay? I don't want to be a hype beast, especially for Kickstarter, but this looks good. This looks good. There are late pledges available. You can get a PDF of it. They also have a cinematic adventure. Or, you know, I mean, look, if it's nearing the end of the Kickstarter. In fact, this is probably the tack I should take to align better with my values about this. If you feel so compelled and you want to be like the first one to get it, Kickstarter's accepting late pledges. However, if it's at the stage where they're sending out the beta and they're taking error reporting up to May 15th, which from the time of recording this is like 8 days, it can't be that long until it's released. So either way, my purpose here is not to tell you to go buy this, but I will say that when I looked through the beta of the rulebook, I was very, very pleased on multiple fronts. First of all, the entire design, which is no surprise, is amazing. And the reason it's no surprise is I'm going to show you the design team that's on this. So I did want to show this edition just to make you feel more comfortable. I got my one that they sent me was the Alpha edition. You'll be getting the Beta Cuck edition. Satire. All right, so first and foremost, the map is a sign of things to come, because if we look at the original core rulebook, look at this character sheet. It was the whole thing that they were going for, and I get it, was to have this sort of retro future where we thought that in the future computers would just be Virtua Boys with green screens and Tandy 1000X. But you can even see here, just in terms of the opening map of this, how much more legible that is. And it is absolutely no surprise, because if we look at the team here, we have Martin Grip, who is the Symbarum artist. Amazing. Johan Noor does graphic design and layout. And the solo rules is the father-son duo Sean Tompkin, Matt Click. You even have comedian John Mulaney doing the spaceship and vehicle art. I think that's probably a different John Mulaney. That's John R. Mulaney, but that would be funny, wouldn't it? What? Where are all these spaceships coming from? Wait, no, that's not. How does John Mulaney sound? The other day, no, I thought I was able to do a John Mulaney. I didn't know that I had. There, that's kind of it, right? I had to make a spaceship. There it is. But check this out. Last Survivor here, from 291 to 307, that is all solo. And despite the intro with this that says that it's the solo mode is a brief and brutal story intended for one-off scenarios, I actually kind of disagree. Looking through this, I felt like you could do more with this. I feel like you can play out a campaign with this. Now, I have to be respectful of Free League, and Free League is always very nice to me. So I'm not necessarily doing this because of like fear, but to be a good steward of this, they just sent this out. It's the beta edition. Um, the thing hasn't even come out yet. I don't want to share the entire PDF, so I'll have to show just like a couple parts of it to give you an idea of some things. But even so, really, I just want to talk about some of the updates and the differences. And really, the thing that right away that you're able to see is the design choices that they chose were so on point. Because if you look at this here, this still gives us that old feeling. And it's kind of cool, actually, right? It looks like a Scantron exam from like 1991. It still has this sort of dot matrix simplified, but it's so much more legible. It's so much more legible. And so, huge improvement with that. But it still has these really nice pictures. And this especially, this is where Martin Grip shines, because Martin Grip is a Symbaroum artist, and it's just kind of like that. He's amazing at art that is like a bit unfocused, but rather than creating a frustrating lack of focus where you're like, I can't see what's going on, it creates a total immersive feeling. Like, this is drenched, this is dreary. You can see that. You don't need to see the details. You see the contrast. The chiaroscuro is like on point here. You see the Weyland-Yutani Corp sign right there. You know these people are sitting in line to be like processed to get their credits. They're being denied to go off-world. But then another part of the design that just looks badass is throughout it, there is these very, dare I say, Man Alone-esque. I love this kind of design choice of little pieces that disrupt the flow or the box of the page. And this is where I feel like Johan Noor, if when you take the design principles of Mork Borg and you set them into this chaotic, artless, sort of formless, theoryless mayhem, as we see with all the Mork Borg derivatives, where it's like, oh, Mork Borg is messy, I'll just slap stuff all over a sheet of paper. It looks like terrible. But when you have these selective moments of violating the constraints of the page, it just looks so cool. And right here on the left, we see about the story mother, which is the sort of GM. The new GM screen is, I think some people like it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I see what they were going for with it. I'm gonna try to see if I could bring it up. But it's also one of these things that truly, I need to see what it looks like in like the genuine article, because right now what they're going for is this retro computer interface here. This would be the back of it, as far as I could tell. But you see this? This is where Weyland-Yutani starts. These smart home devices, they start listening, and soon there's an android with milky white blood who's pretending to be your friend. Okay, so yeah, this is the back of the screen here, and I get it, but it look actually though. You know what? I have to say something right now. I think this picture. No. Hold on, I have to investigate, because I'm wondering if this picture is updated from when they first posted it. Let me look. Nope, no change. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know, but I mean, the previous one had a menace to it. I suppose it kind of looks cool and this is why I need to see it in person, because I think a lot of what will make or break this design is how realistic like the depth looks here. If it actually looks like textured, that could be cool. But this right here, as it is, it's like wah, wah, wah. Do I have anything close to wah, wah, wah? What's this button? Mistake. That's not right. I gotta get better sounds. All right, so yeah, so this is some great stuff here, and I'm loving the updates that they've done. The character sheet updates look awesome, just from an aesthetic standpoint. But also, I'm really liking the a few of the updates I see. So there was a stress level on the original character sheet, but these like stress and panic responses, this is definitely learning from Death in Space and Mothership. Death in Space is actually like a Free League. Why do I always Free League Workshop thing? And so, yeah, this is what we want, right? We want this to be a claustrophobic, paranoid experience where we feel like we are on edge all the time. Buddy and Rival, they had that, all the same skills. There's a revamped talent system, which I find kind of interesting because they didn't leave a lot of space for it, but I'm glad that they revamped it because the talents did not quite connect in the original core set. I also got the Rapture Protocol. It's not a starter box, but it's like, I forgot what the it was like Hope's Last. I want to say Hope's Last Dance, but that can't be right. There was a cinematic box that came with the first one. This Rapture Protocol is like the cinematic supplement, and there is a cinematic play to Alien where you can focus more on like creating something that fits within a movie type story arc. It's either a one shot or like a 3-shot kind of thing where you have like rising tension, climax, denouement. But yeah, the Rapture Protocol is this one's sort of movie, so to speak. And one of the reasons I got that, first of all, if you buy, and this is kind of nobody knows, nobody truly knows, right? It's like how do bees fly or whatever. You can buy the stress dice and core dice or base dice or whatever. Each of those are $21, or you could buy the Rapture Protocol box set for $31, and it has both sets of dice in it, and it has cards. In fact, let me see if I can find a picture of everything in that box. All right, everything I said is wrong. Not everything. It's the Evolved Edition starter set that I got, and that's the stuff that has the dice and everything in it. The Rapture Protocol Cinematic Adventure is separate from that, but it's actually, the starter set is actually cheaper. I don't know how many because it's Cronin or whatever, but it's 298 SEK versus 398. I guess I could do the math on that. Okay, yeah. So the to clarify, there's the Rapture Protocol, which is the cinematic adventure. There's a starter set, which is the Hope's Last Day, not Hope's Last Dance, adventure. And honestly, again, not trying to hype beast you here, but if you buy each of these dice set, they're 31 they're 21 bucks a piece. So it's $42 if you want both of these dice. This right here, available on Kickstarter, is 31 for a late pledge. I don't know how many they'll have left, but look at this. You also get this universal supply dial. I don't even know what that is, but it's I don't know what it is, but it looks cool. And you get, look at this. You get initiative cards, you get these tokens, you get a map, you get all these character sheets, you get weapons cards, personal agenda, and the dice for $31. Or you can get just the dice, and I think you only get 6 each. How is this possible? Don't ask, don't wonder about it. Just do it. Because honestly, it makes more like if I needed an extra set of dice, it would make more sense for me to just buy a starter set. I would pay $10 more, but I would get so much more. Um, yeah, because I'm just like making sure. Yeah, look at one set. Okay, so that's 10. That's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just do it. So that one could be worth your time. But yeah, that's a starter set. Um, it says it's got abridged rules, so it's not. It's I mean, it's not the full thing, but I don't know. Like I've found those abridged rules, they don't look like the usual like glossy sort of mini pack. It looks more like the size of like I mean, if that's the size of it, that looks like a glue bound thing. It doesn't look like a little stapled pamphlet. You get an adventure, and if I'm understanding this right, how awesome does this look? You have these I keep pointing at the screen as if you're able to see my finger, but this looks like a map. This looks like a crawl, like a dungeon crawl on this ship. This looks so cool. I went from meh to yeah. I went from to oh yeah because this looks awesome. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the differences. I'm going to talk about talents, not from experience. I don't have any, but I'm going to talk about differences in the talent system with this, and then also we'll look at the solo mode, which has some unbelievably awesome. Just from glance, right? It's you got to play this to really get a handle on it. But just looking at these, some of the stuff on offer there, it looks super cool. Again, I'm not going to be able to show the whole thing, but I'll talk about it. I'll show a little clip of it just to be a good neighbor. Yeah, right here. So yes, I know this is annoying, but I think this is the best way to like show you what I'm talking about without giving away the whole book here. So you're getting like the middle third of a 2-page spread here. So you have this cinematic play, which again, it's a 3-act cinematic adventure, which I think is a cool thing to get people into a game and have them being like, damn, I wish I could play longer. And you say, well, we could start a campaign and check this out. You could be colonial marines, cool, frontier colonists, cool, or what all of us will definitely be, which is space truckers. Um, it also, you could see here that one of the key themes is space horror. Another one is a sense of wonder, and that is important. That is important in Alien, and you can see it in the movies where they fail this. They fail to create that moment where people step out of something and go, "Wow," or at least they consider that there's something good that they thought was possible. Because without that, it's just like carnage, which is rad. I mean, Alien 3, I think, did that, and it was still really good. But there needs to be this idea of like, look at the supplement, Building Better Worlds. That is what most people think about the Weyland-Yutani Corp. Then we have cards for the Alien role-playing game. There's a custom card deck available in the Hope's Last Day starter set. There we go. These cards are used for 2 purposes: for drawing initiative in combat and for keeping track of the key gear. And you can see it says Chapter XX here because they haven't finalized it yet. All right. Oh, special rules on playing an android. Um, Androids are an important part of the Alien universe, and you can play one as your player character. They are rare, and we recommend that you talk it through with the rest of the group before creating an Android. That's funny. Before creating an Android PC, you might want to make if you want to make a PC on Jelly Donut. Androids don't suffer stress and don't have a stress level. They never make panic rolls. They suffer damage differently. They have higher strength and wits, but lower empathy. Oof. Yeah, I would not let more than one person be that. Nice drawback. Yeah, I'm stronger, faster, and smarter than everyone, but on the downside, I don't care about anyone. It's like, mm-hmm. Sounds like a average CEO. It does have info on player versus player because that does happen in Alien, especially as people start panicking. That's a big part of it. So in some games, you'd be like, "No, we don't do that in this game." You have to. That's part of it. Is turning against each other. All right. So stuff on gear. I wanted to find talents. 1 second. Ugh. I don't like this, man. This archetype is kid. Um, I mean, maybe that. Uh, that is a part of the Alien franchise. It's just really weird. In a campaign, I would say someone could play like a teen. That would be okay, but man, maybe you know what it's coming down to. I was in this campaign, and it was a really fun campaign. This was years ago, but it was somebody was playing a kid, and whenever it was their turn, they'd be like, "Oh, jeepers, I don't know," and I was like, "Ugh." Like, what would drive you to want to play this? But you can see that there is, if we just scoot a little bit here, oops, there is this on their right side. It looks like everybody has starting talents, and so you can either roll or I guess choose one of three starting talents. What I'm looking at here is to see what the advancement system is, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure what. Uh, if you're, I know that there's XP, so I know there's leveling up, but I want to see if you can get more talents. Yeah, so interestingly, there's no gear dice. You get base dice and stress dice, um, and you modify the base dice according to gear, which I think I like better. Let me think about that for a second. Yeah, because I don't know, it doesn't feel like I'm able to use gear dice, and then gear dice also is this additional like feels bad moment when you have a really cool weapon and then you just have a bad roll and it breaks. So you modify base dice equal to attribute plus skill. Modify the base dice pool for difficulty, gear, and help. So that's you're modifying it up and down with the GM in group play up and down for difficulty, and you could probably help a teammate. There is a reroll in this, but you get +1 stress level and reroll. And then if you roll one or more stress dice, you have to trigger a stress response. Uh-huh. Multiple successes. You could reduce your stress level by 1. You could show off. You could do it quickly, quietly. Yeah, so no surprises here. And then for the stress response, you do 2d6 plus stress level minus resolve. And where is resolve being tracked on? Okay, so resolve is next to your health. And also below that is radiation, which used to be on the old character sheet. It would have like, I think, 9 circles for that. So it's interesting to see. And then in a cinematic adventure, you can spend a story point to automatically get a success. This can be done. You gain story points by following your personal agenda. Oh, that's cool. So that's kind of like this needs to be a cool movie. And so we'll give some like story points just to make things work so that there's not like a here comes a big moment and you failed. So I guess you'll just sit here and fart. Okay, so there are career-based talents, the 3 that you have during character creation. Only your character type can get those. Then there are general talents that anybody can get, and the exchange rate is to get a new talent. It's always 5 XP. Your skills can go from 0 to 5. but your I think it's an exponential cost for skill points to step them up beyond the first time. Yeah, so to increase a skill level by one step costs a number of XP equal to the skill level you want to attain multiplied by 5. For example, an increase from skill level 2 to 3 costs 15 XP. You can only increase it one step at a time. Learning a new skill costs 5 XP. To do this, you must either have used the skill and succeeded without skill level. Dang, which is just a base dice roll. Well, at least there's options for increasing it, because sometimes I feel quite locked in some Year Zero games where it's like I can learn new talents, but as far as skills, I'm not gonna make much headway. Okay, I want to show you this stealth mode. This is awesome. Hey, sorry to interrupt. I'm about to do an ad, and I just didn't want to startle you, but it's a good ad, and it's different than the one I have been using. Anyways, here is the ad. 3, 2, 1, and enjoy. Folks, I am so proud to have Noble Knight Games as a sponsor of the Man Alone channel. Since 1997, they have been serving the needs of gamers all over the world. They specialize in new and out-of-print RPGs, board games, war games, collectible card games, miniatures, all things game-related. At Noble Knight, they take pride in providing great experiences for their customers, so whether you're shopping in their brick-and-mortar store, Castle up in Fitchburg, Wisconsin, or through their easy-to-use website, you're going to see that pride reflected in every step of the process. All along the way, you're going to enjoy discounted pricing, easy and secure checkout, fast and super friendly customer service, worldwide shipment, free shipping on domestic orders over $149, and most important to us, they have a huge selection. Noble Knight wants you to have the best gaming experience possible, and the most important step for that to happen is to have the game you need. So to assist you in that, they regularly have rare and out-of-print titles available. Games so rare that you probably didn't even know they exist. Games you maybe just think of any game. Drew Barrymore Simulator. They maybe have that. Go look for yourself by clicking on the link below. And P.S. If you click that link in the video description, you're not only about to enter a world of gaming euphoria, but you're also going to be supporting the Man Alone channel. When you're ready to check out, you can expect that your order is going to be carefully packed and shipped promptly, in many instances the same day you place your order. And hey, don't have the scratch to afford what you want right now? Well, good news. Noble Knight not only sells the games you want, they also buy the ones you don't want anymore. So that big pile of shame in your corner, those games covered in dust that don't spark joy anymore, just click the link in the top left-hand corner of their homepage, and you will be amazed at how easy this process is, how fair their offers are, and just how diverse the selection of games that they're willing to buy. Anything game related. You can probably sell them that game with the pink phone where you talk to boyfriends. What was it? Dream phone? I don't know. I can't remember. I was too busy dominating all competition in Battleship at the time, but they'll probably buy that too. Give it a shot. As always, they offer a satisfaction guarantee, so go ahead and click the link below. Check out Noble Knight Games, where the out of print, come on everybody, say it with me, where the out of print is available again. Thank you so much, Noble Knight Games, for sponsoring the Man Alone channel. All right, so it's starting to make sense why they're selling like miniatures with this one, because I think for full color maps included in the Hope's Last Day starter set and the Rapture Protocol, the miniatures can be used to play skirmish style war games. Dang. Well, yeah, so I guess you get tokens, but the reason that this is cool is because there is like your GM has a hidden map. So say an alien is moving around a duct system. They're moving one step at a time. When you're in like stealth mode, okay? You're in stealth mode and you're sort of like one little step, and then there's this whole sequence where you move a zone, then the NPC moves a zone on the GM's hidden map. Or the xenomorphs, they move one zone per point of speed, but there's a massive information imbalance there. So this xenomorph can be like you could be going doink, 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 and Xenomorph is going blah, 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 right? And so this stealth mode is almost this whole separate sequence. Well, it is a separate sequence, but it's its own little like chess game where you have a chance to ambush an enemy, or you have a chance to get caught with your ass out, as my dad used to say. And then there's directions here on crawl spaces, access points. You can seal access points with the machinery roll. Ooh, this looks cool. This looks cool. I hope that the solo mode comes together with this, because I want a solo RPG that is scary. One of the first solo RPGs I ever attempted to make, and I was way out of my depth, was called Someone Else Is Here. And in fact, I think that BB made an illustration for that looked awesome. Nah, that's too much of a sidetrack. But what I was going to say is, I was trying to work out an incongruent system where you're trapped in a house and the villain, the monster, whatever it is sort of like moving randomly. But of course, if you can imagine in solo play, it was a hard nut to crack in terms of like, how do I both be the one responsible for moving this monster and also not know where it is, right? So we shall see what they do about this, but this is very exciting because I know that I'm not going to be like, shit. I'm not going to be like this. But I do like having rising tension, like actually feeling stressed about it. So I'm actually going to skip forward here to see what if this made its way into the solo section. Okay. There is this solo stealth stuff. It is obviously, acknowledged that it can't go just like it does. I'll move this over a little bit so you can at least see that. And it's actually I need to get my head around it a little bit of like how it plays out, but essentially it looks really cool. So you are basically constructing a dice pool, and I think my Mutant Year Zero dice are the same. I can get the same color as these, so we could just see an example. All right, I got impatient. So basically, you're going to use like a series of timers. There's an encounter timer, an objective timer, and then there's also there's 5 different zones of proximity that you could be in. Obviously, if like you're using miniatures, you might not have to abstract it in that way. I also just want to say one of the best, I literally mean this, one of the best emails I ever got was when I woke up one morning after making a video. And this is how you know that you have a solo role-playing channel. The email was like, important notice. And it was just someone being like, in your previous video, you were using a Walking Dead die and referring to it as a Mutant Year Zero die. And I was like, thank you. And so I'm sorry I forgot to make a press release to correct that. But basically, the idea here is you're putting together a base dice, and in terms of like, you're going to be moving around these different zones. And every time you have like these different ways that you can move. You can be rushing, you could be creeping, you could be sort of hiding in place. And in terms of how fast you're moving, which, right, like rushing through a place has its benefits, creeping has its benefits and drawbacks. You're going to add a die like each time something gives you away. So for creeping, you have -1 die for encounter checks, so there's less likely that there'll be an encounter, but you get +1 die in terms of observation rolls, -1 die in observation rolls against you, but +1 die in terms of danger timer effects. That is kind of cool. I mean, I know it's a little bit much to think about right now, but just like hang on to the concept here, right? So you have these different levels of threat. You have the threat of being discovered. You have the threat of just like the meta clock of like something bad will happen. So you can creep along and it is less likely that you're going to be observed, but you're also going to be spending more time in an area that you can be observed. And then when you roll this, the more sort of I think these would be good, like successes, but the more fails you get, the closer this thing is getting to you, or the closer it is to finding you. And so it says like stealthy, you are moving cautiously from zone to zone, keeping a low profile and remaining wary of dangers. This is the default mode and has no effect. Creeping, you are moving with abundant caution. When you make an encounter check, roll -1 stress die to a minimum of 1. When you roll observation for your PC, gain +1, and any NPC using observation to spot you loses a die. However, your wariness comes at the cost of speed. You must make danger timer checks with a +1 stress die. Cool. And then there's an enemy behavior. The adjacent table helps to determine the behavior of an enemy at the start of an encounter. And then there's, oh man, yeah, so there's escaping an encounter, making noise, using a motion tracker. Oh, cool. All right, so as enemies move within range, a functioning motion tracker gives you a better chance of outmaneuvering or spotting those enemies. If you roll at least 1 success and no more than 1 failure on an encounter check without triggering the encounter, you may choose one of these 2 options instead of rolling: outmaneuver or prepare, which I guess is. So the encounter check sequence here. If moving to a new zone, choose your movement: stealthy, creeping, rushing. Make an encounter check using the encounter timer table, rolling a number of stress die corresponding to the presence. For each fail rolled, shift the enemy presence 1 step closer. If the enemy presence is now encountered, using the enemy behavior table, determine how the encounter begins. Make a spotting check. This is cool. And this is another thing that this might be the first game. I don't want to be too optimistic. Should I be optimistic? Why not? Well, I don't want to be disappointed, and I also don't want to be misleading. I think it's good to, like, the best advice is you really don't know how a game is until you play it. You cannot read a book and know how the game will be played. And so reading this makes me excited. There are mechanics for scavenging. There's mechanics for solo combat. And what I was going to say is this might be the first game that I'm interested in vehicular combat. I usually hate vehicles. When I pulled out Twilight 2000 the other day, I set up just a combat grid just to like try it out. And vehicles are a pain in the binguini because I don't know what it is. It's like you're having to account for an additional character almost. But the space combat looks so cool. And it's basically like another, well, yes, it's another character, which is, you know, the thing I was just complaining about. But it feels different. Like it feels different than it does in Coriolis. In Coriolis, the spacecraft, and I know that there are some of you who will cry anathema on what I'm saying here, but I just felt it was so tedious, and like all the different modules and everything that you had to set up. This one looks more like I can get upgrades, I can get armaments, and I can get internal modules. Cool. My FTL rating, my thrusters. This looks more like something that I'm just going to feel like, you know, upgrade. I got a new weapon for it. Upgrade. I got a new FTL drive for it. And it does, interestingly, it does have in certain points in this book these comparisons between, if you look under vehicle armor here on the right side, between first edition and evolved edition. Cool. Lots of cool guns, hand grenades. Sentry gun is $12,000. Fire axe. You ever just see a weapon and you're like, that's the weapon I'll use? I think that happens with every axe in every game for me. I'm an axe man. Some people are boom guys. I'm an axe man. All right, one thing that I definitely want to show you, but I know that I have to be a good boy. Lower right, mother analysis and answer matrices, aka MAM. This has me so freaking jazzed. I have not felt this excited since, well, to be honest, since Troy came out with Brad Pitt, and that didn't turn out so well. That was tough. Why do they call him Menelaus? It's Menelaus. The whole movie, Menelaus, was a cool fight scene in the first one where he does the jumping slash against Boagrius. Anyways, so this mother analysis and answer matrices is this like super, not only extremely functional, but also a set of solo matrices that evoke the themes of Alien, okay, and of like the computer system. I love when stuff does this. And so it has a basic event check, danger level. It has this danger event matrix, which based on your danger level, it will scale up. Opportunity events. It also has this cool like binary response versus complex response matrix, and divides that out so that you can ask very simple, quick questions, and then ones that are more complex. It gives you like a D66 directive and subject. It also has a matrix for sections, access into corridors, salvage, different environmental descriptors, anomalous environment matrix, and a modifier for like multiple successes, how to up that. It also has this whole table on the solo stress response and the solo panic response, which really does work like Mothership. I'm not saying it's not the same. So I'm not saying it's, copy pasted at all, but it does work with this thing where it's like, as your stress goes up, it becomes more likely that you can have this panic response, which you then have to roll. And you can have, that's where you can get any of these different outcomes. So like if you get the shakes, your stress level is +1. So maybe it's not like stress into, okay, let's maybe do this thing where you read and then, okay, when playing Last Survivor, use the alternative table for stress response on the next page. Use the below modified panic roll triggers for a solo PC. More broadly, make a panic roll when you face a horrifying event. Yes, that's very Mothership, such as the death of an important character, a terrible discovery, or a dreadful complication. When you see a xenomorph. When playing Last Survivor, use this alternate table for panic responses. So what I'm curious about is, and I want to make sure I get this because I need to see whether it is sort of the same as Mothership. In Mothership, you have rising stress, and then it could turn into a panic response. I think the way, well, I have right here this little Mothership counter that counts stress as it rises. You can it lowers the threshold for a panic response. So a whole table of that, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to look to see that. And then it goes over all of the timers that I mentioned before. Danger timers, survivor timers, objective timers. And so you're putting all those timers into use, and they're not literal timers, okay? Although that could be interesting. They're not literal timers, but they are these competing values that you're going to have to sort of, do the calculus on to determine, do you want to risk greater exposure, but at the same time spend less time in this place, et cetera, et cetera. You know, honestly, I think that if there's any game that a sort of real life Shadow Dark esque torch timer would be good, it would be for this game, because I think one of the coolest things that I've ever had in any video game is that Alien game, where it was just like you're alone on the ship with the alien, and you can set it so that it actually detects sound from your microphone. And so like if you are loud in your living room while playing it, it can um notify, well, notify is a not sort of a weak word. It doesn't email the xenomorph, but it alerts the xenomorph to your presence. And so it would be cool to have something like that where you have to, because what's fun about that is you could sit there in total silence, but even as I'm recording right now, somebody like outside on the street, just like it sounded like they dropped a hardcover textbook, that would register on the sound, and I'd be like, damn it, right? And it's that kind of stuff that increases the literal feeling of tension, not just like a rising value of tension. I'm gonna see what that Alien game was called. Right, Alien Isolation. I That video game, it with noise detection on and played in the dark, was probably the first time I felt scared playing a video game since, well, I remember feeling very scared when I played Doom for Super Nintendo, but I was very young. When I played Resident Evil for PlayStation, I was scared even with Barry being like, "You almost became a Jill sandwich." Some of the worst voice acting ever. Legendary. Yes, but these timers are pretty cool in terms of enemy behavior, rising tension, but I want the tension to feel real. You know what I'm saying? I want it to feel like actual tension and not just like a board game type tension where it's like, well, now I've moved this from a 4 to a 5. Boy, I better get going here. I want to be like, damn it. Oh, now I'm at 5. What do I do? Right. And I think um, I'm hoping when I play through this, because that's really what the setting does too. Alien, knowing it's Alien, this is one of the few, like as I see it, positive benefits of role playing within an IP is all of the emotional connotations that you already have assigned to that IP. They carry over, and as long as you haven't watched too much of the most recent Alien movies, which, and let me just say this, I am a person who actually liked Prometheus. And if people would just maybe read about it a little bit, that's the sign of a good movie when you have to read several articles on it to enjoy it. It's really cool. I wish they would have kept going with that instead of whatever junk we get now. But as long as you have not sullied your relationship with Alien completely, for me, Alien feels really scary. And I love this idea of these missions set up by your different archetypes, and something about this here has me very thrilled. This is a job generator, and I love this idea of just like going on a job run. I've got a cargo run. I'm trying to get rewards. It has a cash system because that way I'm not just like fighting aliens, which if I want that experience, I could be a Marine. But I like the idea of being like, wow, I was not intending to do this. Tons of different campaign hooks and system generators. I mean, this game, if there's one thing that has me, what was cool in 2012 to say, it's got me sprung, is just how many tables are in here. It looks great. Um, Good spacing between like tables and chairs. No, this is awesome too. Check this out. like a size comparison. Dang, this looks good. I don't know. What do you all think? Are people sharing the same feelings with me seeing this, or are they kind of saying, I'll watch and wait? Or are you totally like, nah, that's okay. I'll pass on this one? Because I can sort of, I get it. Like, I get all of those different orientations just because I don't know of many people that loved the first Alien game. I don't know if in fact, um, when I first started playing with the Year Zero system, I remember like reading reviews for it and seeing a review that I remember seeing like front and center was somebody who's like, "Hey, I have played several campaigns for Alien, and I do not enjoy it. It is not fun." And it was just everybody was agreeing with that, and I was like, "Really? Oh, that sucks. Like, what a bummer that is." All right, last thing. Okay, so I think Free League will excuse me for this since this is a good time to explain this very core mechanic here. So it's not that there's like a a cutoff level of like after you accumulate a certain amount of stress. And there's one piece of the stress level thing that I forgot that I actually really like, and that is that stress can be productive. It gives you additional dice. You add stress dice into your pool, and so you have a more chances in a way to roll successes, but you also then have chances to roll stress points, right? And so these stress points accumulate over time. And there are ways to reduce the stress level, but I think if it's, like in Mutant Year Zero, you have to like spend time with your buddy, or you have to, there's a variety of things in each game. But then, whatever your stress level is, when you do have something that causes a panic roll, right? So you see something that, and in solo play, you're going to have to referee this, but it's very clear, I think, in Alien. Look, you just saw somebody's head fly off. You have never seen a xenomorph in your life, and you see it crawling down a duct towards you. It's something horrifying. When that happens, you roll a 2d6 and add your stress level. And you subtract your resolve. But the panic response table on the right goes up to 15 plus, and you're only rolling a 2d6. And the truly bad stuff is going to happen around 12 or higher. And so you can't hit that unless your stress level is high. So having a higher stress level means that your panic outcome is likely to be worse. If you have a stress of 1, you literally cannot, you can't keep cool because already you're going to be above 1. And then if you are fatigued, you can't relieve stress. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here, for every stretch of time spent resting in a safe area, your stress level is reduced by 1. You can't make skill rolls when resting, and if your rest is interrupted, it doesn't count. A panic roll can also decrease stress, as can certain drugs. Which panic roll is going to reduce stress? A panic roll can also decrease stress. There's also this thing, again, mothership-esque, where it's like if you see somebody else panic, that can cause you to panic unless it's an android. So there is some similarities here with Mothership, but it's good. I mean, it's not like a such a incredibly unique system that it's like copyrighted. I mean, it borrows from a lot of games. A lot of games have things similar to this. So I think this is a good choice for Alien, a very good choice. Additionally, if you rolled a 12 or higher during the game session, after the session, you have to do like an empathy check using attribute only. Can't be pushed. If it fails, you have to roll for a mental trauma on a D66 table here. And it can only be healed during shore leave, which is only in campaign play because that's the only time you're going to have it. So this is what's really fascinating here, and why I'm not satisfied with just saying, oh well, you know, you'll be able to play these like one shots with solo. Part of the cool thing about this game is your sanity degenerates over time. You lose your grip. I mean, nobody could actually endure something like this without starting to develop traumatic responses to it. So that's really cool. I'll stop there. I went on too long anyways, but I'm really excited about this. Excited enough to get miniatures. I don't know. I want to know if any of you backed it. If anything I said has put you over the line where maybe you're interested or whatever. Like I said, late pledges are available. The starter set, that's just a damn good deal. But again, we're pretty close to the end of the entire campaign cycle, and so it'll be there soon. Free League has good distribution in terms of, you know, being able to find it. Certainly, it's, you know, not as wide a distribution as 5e or anything, but I would say, it'd be like 5e, Pathfinder, and then Free League games. Am I forgetting any? It doesn't matter. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's not waste another second. This is updated. I updated it. Everybody's on there. How fun is that? We finally have the whole team. Man Alone Waffle on Discord.